Hey, what's up? MacabreMandy here, and welcome. We just went down in the basement where it was previously locked after pretty much getting fed up from the grandmother having difficulties and breaking plates and being confused, and him having to work a mundane job where he skipped out on a scholarship and chose taking care of her over his education. Fatal accident occurred last weekend, is currently being investigated. Reports say that an elderly couple along with their grandson, this is what we read before, the vehicle swerved off the road and crashed into a tree. Margaret Young is in stable condition. She's the only survivor. That's the grandma. There is insufficient evidence to properly conclude the suspicion that alcohol was involved, but it's implied that it probably was. Dear Mother, sorry, I haven't been answering your calls. I know it wasn't your fault, but losing Kevin and Dad has taken a toll on all of us. And it's taken some time to accept what happened. They need to grieve. They've never answered any of my letters or my calls. I waited an eternity to hear the sound of their voices. This is where I got suspicious, and I was like, maybe because she was upset she couldn't see her grandson, she snapped. But no one said that she did. So, I don't know. I guess we'll never know for sure if Grandma was innocent. A brutal crime scene emerged this weekend within a quiet suburban neighborhood. 2 victims, Neil Young and Sarah Young, this character's parents, were viciously stabbed by an unknown assailant. And he was a baby at the time, by the way. Yeah. Brutal crime. Their faces were heavily distorted from being stabbed over 30 times, and the brutal crime has shocked the local community, but they don't know who did it. Unknown assailant.
You found an interesting set of documents that revealed the truth about your past. Your grandparents were involved in an accident that killed your grandfather and your infant brother. It wasn't your grandmother's fault entirely, but
Entirely.
couldn't help but put the blame on her. With no family or friends left, living a hopeless and bleak existence, your grandmother decided to murder them. With your parents out of the way, she could raise you all by herself.
I was right.
Her desire was selfish and evil.
Wait, I believe this or this actually happened?
That was all you needed. A way to justify her death. A way to break the burden of taking care of her. Do you remember what you did? I'll walk you through it once more, just in case you've forgotten.
I did something unspeakable. I killed them. I murdered them both. I didn't know what to do. I had nothing left to live for. I'm so sorry. Am I leaving the room? I don't know if you heard. If they said that it was 100% she did do it, or if he convinced himself out of, coincidence because she was bitter. But he was definitely convinced that she did it. Get the knife, get the new radio, get the phone, place the knife on her bed, replace the old radio. Don't put this here on paper. If you're gonna get away with murder, you don't just say, hey, I did this. Look at what I did. This is how I did it. That's how you go to jail. Do you want to go to jail? You want to go to hell? I think you got there. Good job. Okay, we're doing a checklist now. Also, the lights are red. Is that signifying that I'm seeing red? This is her room. I need to replace the radio, but I can't do that yet. I guess I have to go in order. I can't take that knife, so I have to go grab one. Oh, a new paper. Is this new? Nope, same one. Oh, it's all laid out here. Hang on. Get the knife, get the new radio, get the phone, place the knife on her bed. Place the phone on the table outside the door. Wait outside. Did I record this? Did I tell her to kill herself? I do deserve to be in hell. What's the matter? She's gonna die anyway. No. That is even worse. Why her stomach? That's really brutal. At least make it quick. This isn't just snapping. Like, this is full-on psycho. All the planning that went into this. The extra effort. All the times you could have said, never mind, I'm not doing it. Okay, objectively, he did believe that she murdered his parents. So this is like revenge, probably. But at the same time, he is taking advantage of someone whose mind is pretty much gone. Aside from breaking plates, they're pretty much harmless. What the fuck? No. In my head, I was going, jail, go to jail. Now I'm going, go to fucking hell. No, dude.
James, you murdered her. She always talked about the man in the radio, so you decided to become that character. You replaced the old radio and then played an audio file telling her to stab herself repeatedly with a knife. You knew she was delusional and had episodes of schizophrenia. She followed your instructions and eventually bled to death due to her self-inflicted injuries. Since all the evidence pointed to a suicide, you weren't charged with anything. You finally got what you wanted. You were finally free. You might be wondering how exactly you ended up dead. Well, for the first few months, you lived your life carefree. You actually enjoyed life to some extent, not being tied down by an ill relative. But eventually, that all came crashing down. It started off with brief, horrific, gruesome
She haunted you.
nightmares. Visions of her
Good.
stabbing herself endlessly, blood gushing out of her wounds, flooding your mind with blood-red guilt. Slowly, these nightmares leaked into your daily life. You'd see her out of the corner of your eye, whether you were driving, walking down the street, or at work. Even though you killed her, she never really left. She lived in your mind and haunted you every day until you eventually couldn't fall asleep. Every time you closed your eyes, even for the briefest of moments, she'd manifest in your subconscious.
The guilt consumed him. If you don't want to be supernatural about it.
Hospital and you were prescribed sleep medicine, but that only suppressed the issue. Slowly, your body adjusted to the medicine, and you needed to increase
You
the dose
OD'd?
for the medicine to be effective. This process kept repeating until you were taking multiple times the recommended amount. You were addicted until one night you overdosed on sleep medication. Right now, in this moment, your physical body is currently
You're not dead
in a
yet.
hospital bed, hovering between the thin line of life and death. You're still
Limbo.
probably wondering why you're here in God's basement. I'll finally tell
Hell.
you who I am and what this place really is. God's basement is a realm for those who have committed great sin but are still redeemable. The individuals that arrive in God's basement relive their own versions of hell, allowing them to reflect on their life and watch their slow descent into evil. Their resentment, hate, bitterness, and jealousy accumulate until those emotions manifest themselves through atrocious acts, yours being murder. You were backed into a corner, watching your life slowly pass you by. All those opportunities you sacrificed, all that potential wasted. You became bitter and resentful. Many could sympathize with you. Many might have even done the same. You were hopeless, and it felt like you were inside a living hell. I am called the Operator. I am an entity that manifests in God's basement. I manifest myself in different ways depending on the person. My job is to guide the person inside God's basement and allow them to relive their life from a different perspective. In your case, I manifested with many characteristics resembling the man in the radio. Hopefully this explanation cleared everything up. You're still probably wondering what happens now that you have all your memories. I mentioned earlier that God's basement are for those who are still redeemable. Even though you committed an atrocious sin, you were trapped in a hopeless existence. Also, the person you killed wasn't really your grandmother. She was a shell of her former self. Your grandmother died long ago. Part of you wanted to see her suffering cease. Your crime was both cruel and merciful at the same time. You are going to get a second chance at life. Pretty soon you're going to wake up in a hospital bed out of your drug-induced coma. Learn to live with what you did. The feelings of guilt, paranoia, and pain will never completely go away. James. Make the most out of life, and be grateful for this second chance. One last thing. Good luck.
I don't agree with that. It's nice to think if you did something atrocious that you could be redeemed, but he went a little above and beyond. I think he belonged down there in the basement. Like, there's so many ways he could have approached that, and so many times he could have changed his mind and even been less brutal, and he just chose the most horrible way. Okay.